Alarms blared across the quarantined lab, red lights flickering like they were competing with the Vulpine survivor's feeble heartbeat. Every alien in the room hovered nervously, claws tapping, tails curling in distress, whispering in panicked tones that humans barely understood. "Nothing responds anymore," one squeaked, voice trembling. "We've overstimulated the system, it's beyond repair." Another fainted mid-argument, only to be caught by a colleague, sending a flurry of fur and panic into the air. The last surviving Vulpine lay curled on a silver cot, blinking irregularly, breathing shallow and weak. Its large eyes, normally luminous, now reflected worry and confusion, like it understood the gravity better than its caretakers. A calm voice cut through the chaos, smooth and confident. "Step aside," the human doctor said, adjusting the straps on a metallic case. The aliens froze, translating protocols in their heads, muttering, "Humans, they just waltz in." The doctor's boots clicked across the floor, purposeful and unhurried, drawing disbelieving stares. "If it resists," the doctor continued, "don't panic. That's a good sign." The words carried double meanings the aliens didn't understand, and they recoiled in horror, whispering warnings about impropriety. The human knelt beside the Vulpine, inspecting monitors and charts. "Looks like you've been understimulated for too long," they muttered. "We'll need hands-on intervention." The translator struggled, rendering it as something scandalous, and the aliens gasped collectively, tails puffing. "Hands-on," one squeaked, voice nearly breaking. "Do humans do this often?" The doctor didn't flinch. "Every time. You just have to know the right angle and apply consistent pressure." They opened a small kit, pulling out tools with names that sounded innocuous to humans but obscene to Vulpine ears. "We might need some lubrication," the doctor added casually, testing the alien's response. One assistant fainted outright. Another scribbled notes in panic. The Vulpine twitched. "Good," the human murmured. "Movement is exactly what we want." Aliens whispered about protocol breaches and decorum, scanning their manuals, trying to reconcile centuries of bureaucratic rules with the audacity before them. The doctor, unfazed, continued, "Sometimes it's all about firm hands and rhythm. Timing is everything. A little stimulation goes a long way." The translator garbled the words further, and a collective blush swept through the alien crowd. The human simply smiled, as if delivering the most mundane instruction in the galaxy. The Vulpine's breathing became steadier, eyes blinking faster, tracking the human's hands with wary intelligence. "See," the doctor said, patting the monitor. "Systems are responding. You just needed someone who wasn't afraid to get involved." Aliens stepped back, eyes wide. Some shook their heads, unable to comprehend why such simplicity could work where all their technology and protocols had failed. The human adjusted one tool with a subtle twist, and the Vulpine let out a small, tentative sound that bordered between a groan and a chuckle. "Persistence and timing," the doctor said, standing upright and brushing dust off their sleeves. "Humans understand the basics, even when others overcomplicate everything. You'll see results when you stop worrying about appearances and focus on action." A translator attempted to repeat the statement, but the Vulpine's twitching ears and blushing cheeks made the alien chorus snicker nervously. The room, previously chaos incarnate, now held a tension of anticipation. The human leaned closer, whispering a few instructions with clinical precision, laced with humor and double meaning. Aliens averted their eyes. The Vulpine responded, tiny muscles flexing in coordination. "Good," the doctor said, "this is exactly what we need. Keep the system warm, apply steady pressure, and don't stop until it pushes back. If it's stubborn, you're doing it right." A tail flicked nervously. "Is that normal?" an assistant squeaked. The doctor smirked. "For humans? Absolutely. For you? You'll learn." Laughter, hesitant at first, broke through the tension as the Vulpine twitched again, more coordinated this time. The human kept working with calm confidence, hands moving expertly, every action precise, deliberate, and infused with subtle humor. The aliens watched in awe, some still blushing, realizing the human's combination of courage, wit, and practical knowledge was beyond anything their structured methods could achieve. By the time the Vulpine shifted slightly on the cot, letting out a faint, steady sigh, the room was filled with both relief and embarrassment. The human doctor straightened, letting the kit snap shut. "That's step one," they said. "Everything else follows naturally if you don't overthink it." Aliens whispered amongst themselves, processing the spectacle. One finally muttered, "Humans are reckless, but somehow brilliant." The human chuckled softly, leaning against the wall, a casual conqueror of problems others deemed impossible, while the last surviving Vulpine blinked at them with cautious trust. The Vulpine's system twitched faintly, signaling the first signs of responsiveness, but the human doctor didn't pause. "Good, that's the baseline. Now, let's see how it handles some real attention," they said, adjusting their tools with casual precision. Aliens flinched, ears twitching in alarm, whispering among themselves, "Is this permitted? Humans have no shame." The translator mangled the doctor's instructions, turning them into something scandalous, which made several assistants blush violently. The human only smiled, clearly aware of the effect. "Don't worry. It's all about technique," they muttered, leaning closer. Hands moved with careful rhythm, gentle yet firm, coaxing the system to respond. "Sometimes it's subtle pressure. Sometimes persistence," the doctor said. Every word carried an innocent double meaning, yet every alien in the room interpreted it in ways that made them flinch, squeak, or fidget. The Vulpine twitched again, responding in small, hesitant increments, muscles flexing, eyes narrowing with concentration. The doctor's smile widened. "See? You just needed someone who isn't afraid to get involved directly." One assistant whispered, It's moving." Another muttered, "Human audacity, incredible." The human glanced over, tapping the edge of a monitor. "Results are all about knowing when to push and when to let go. Overthinking ruins everything." They reached deeper, hands steady and confident. "If it's stiff, you're doing it right. Resistance isn't failure, it's engagement." Aliens winced at every word, tails curling, ears burning, but none dared intervene. The Vulpine gave a small groan, a sound somewhere between relief and discomfort. The doctor paused, inspecting monitors, then leaned in with a dry, sarcastic edge. "Notice the system responding? This is why humans excel under pressure. Others overcomplicate it. We just apply knowledge, timing, and a little persuasion." The word choice made three assistants squeak, and the translator struggled, turning the phrase into something the aliens considered scandalous. The human chuckled softly, unaffected. "Relax. It's science, not impropriety." Aliens continued to fidget as the human's hands manipulated the system, coaxing faint signals into steadier rhythms. "Consistency matters," the doctor said. "Don't stop. If it wiggles, that's a good sign. A system that resists is healthy." Their tone was clinical, but the phrasing made the Vulpine twitch in amusement and the aliens twitch in horror. "Apply firm pressure here," the doctor continued, while monitoring the response. "If it stiffens, adjust gently, but don't be timid. Timidity kills results." A translator whispered, "Is that allowed?" The human smirked. "Allowed? I don't care about rules, I care about results. Humans always prioritize function over etiquette." Fingers moved with practiced precision, coaxing signals and watching them bloom across the monitors. The Vulpine's body started responding more actively, blinking faster, tail flicking in cautious acknowledgement. "There we go," the doctor said. "Now we're making real progress. Don't overthink it, just follow the cues." The aliens muttered nervously, scribbling notes. "Humans, shocking, fearless," one said, tail twitching nervously. Another whispered, "Technique, they call it technique, but it feels inappropriate." The doctor only grinned, continuing their manipulation with calm confidence. "Humans excel because we improvise. We understand pressure, rhythm, and timing. You're welcome to study it, but you'll probably faint halfway through." The Vulpine gave a tiny sound, a mix of discomfort and acknowledgement. Good, the doctor said, leaning in closer. Keep it consistent. If it resists, that's normal. Sometimes it just needs a little coaxing to perform at its best. Aliens shuffled, one nearly toppling over, tails curling protectively. Every instruction seemed indecent, yet every action was precisely calculated to restore life. A subtle vibration ran through the system, faint at first, then more noticeable. The doctor's voice stayed calm. See that? Response is increasing. Coordination is improving. Don't let the awkwardness distract you, results are everything. A translator muttered behind them, red-faced. They said, coordination is increasing. The human didn't correct it, knowing full well the aliens were misinterpreting every phrase. The Vulpine twitched again, muscles flexing deliberately now, eyes tracking the human's hands. Persistence and finesse, the doctor said. That's the key. Too much force ruins it, too little, and it stagnates. Timing, angle, and attention to subtle signals, simple, really. Aliens winced with each line, clearly imagining something scandalous, while the Vulpine let out a small sigh that sounded almost pleased. The human paused briefly, brushing their hands and examining monitors. Everything's responding. Rhythm is steady. Progress is visible. The only thing left is to maintain focus and let the system normalize itself. Another alien whispered to a colleague, humans, fearless, reckless, but it works. The doctor glanced over, smirking. Exactly. We do what's necessary. Not what's polite. The Vulpine shifted slightly, twitching tail and ears, a subtle but unmistakable sign of full system engagement. Perfect, the doctor said. Response is solid, coordination improving, and resistance, exactly as expected. You'd be surprised how often systems just need a human touch. Aliens scribbled furiously, blushing, trying to reconcile decades of protocol with the spectacle before them. Hands continued working with precise rhythm, coaxing minor signals into steadier patterns. Pressure, timing, attention to subtle responses, humans just get it, the doctor murmured. Other species overcomplicate. We focus on results. It's not bravado, it's biology. The Vulpine's twitching increased, and finally a small, coordinated response ran across the monitors. The human smiled. There. See? Easy once you know how. Fear and hesitation are the enemy. Aliens muttered complaints about decorum, shaking their heads in disbelief. Technique, one hissed, it's called technique, but inappropriate. The doctor laughed softly. Exactly. But it works, doesn't it? The Vulpine's eyes tracked the doctor, aware and trusting despite the earlier chaos. The human nodded, satisfied. Step 2, complete. Systems are responding, coordination improving, and we've done it without panicking, fainting, or overthinking. Humans excel where others fail. The room, once full of tension, now hummed with cautious optimism. Aliens leaned back, relieved, yet embarrassed by their misunderstanding. The Vulpine twitched again, stronger, blinking with recognition. Good, the doctor said, packing up a few tools. Consistency, rhythm, attention, that's all it takes. You'd think it complicated, but it isn't. Aliens whispered among themselves, trying to rationalize what they'd just witnessed. The Vulpine's system responded more actively now, twitching and pulsing in ways the aliens had never seen. It's spiking, one squeaked, eyes wide. Too much stimulation, it might overload. The human doctor didn't flinch. Relax, they said, leaning closer. Spikes are normal. You just need to channel them properly. The translator garbled the words again, making it sound scandalous, which sent a wave of blushing through the alien assistants. Channel? One whispered, they said channel. What does that imply? Hands moved faster, adjusting pressure points, coaxing the system to adapt without triggering overload. Sometimes it resists. Sometimes it fights back. That's a good thing, the doctor said, smirking. It's stubborn? Means it's healthy. You wouldn't want a limp response, would you? Aliens flinched, muttering furiously. The Vulpine twitched in acknowledgement, tail curling slightly in amusement. See? Engagement matters, the human added. Resistance isn't failure, it's participation. The system pulsed irregularly, and monitors flickered. Too much pressure, one alien asked nervously. Not enough? Another muttered, panic rising. The doctor shook their head. Neither. It's all in the rhythm. You have to feel the flow. Timing is everything. If it stiffens, you adjust. If it softens, you encourage. Simple. The words carried double meanings the aliens couldn't parse. Every flinch, twitch, or blush they made only reinforced the humor. A small vibration ran through the system, subtle yet noticeable. There it is, the doctor said, smiling. Responses are coordinating. Look at those spikes, it's alive and kicking. You just need to maintain focus and let the system normalize. Aliens whispered to one another, tails twitching in alarm. Human, audacity, technique, shocking, one hissed. The translator repeated it poorly, and the Vulpine's twitch made the whole room blush harder. The doctor laughed softly. Relax. Humans have a way of making things work where others fail. Suddenly, the system reacted unpredictably, jerking in ways that no monitor could fully track. It's erratic, an alien squeaked, backing up. We might lose control. The human leaned in with calm precision. Not losing control. Just adapting. Systems sometimes need encouragement. Another translator misheard and whispered, encouragement. The aliens recoiled. Yes, encouragement, the doctor said, smirking. Gentle coaxing, firm guidance, and a little persistence. You'll see results. Hands moved deliberately, coaxing signals into steadier rhythms. If it resists, you're doing it right. If it stiffens unexpectedly, adjust, but never panic, the doctor instructed. Aliens scuttled, muttering rules about propriety and safety protocols, clearly unable to reconcile their manuals with human boldness. The Vulpine twitched again, now more coordinated, muscles flexing as if following invisible instructions. Good, the doctor said. Coordination improving. Response increasing. Engagement optimal. The aliens watched with a mix of awe and horror. Technique, they keep saying technique, but it feels indecent, one whispered. The doctor didn't even glance at them. Technique, they said, is what humans excel at. Timing, precision, persistence. Not fainting, worrying, or overthinking. That's your problem. Fingers adjusted delicate components with rhythmic precision. Flow matters more than force. Too much, and you break it. Too little, and it stagnates. Just enough, and it thrives. A subtle pulse ran through the system, stronger and steadier now. Perfect, the doctor murmured. See? Progress. Coordination is returning. The system knows we're in charge. Aliens murmured, flustered. We've never, humans, fearless, bold, one translator fainted. The human glanced over, smirking. Don't faint. Observation is critical. You'll learn more by watching than by overreacting. The Vulpine twitched with growing confidence, tail curling playfully. The doctor's hands moved with a precise, almost meditative rhythm, coaxing every signal, applying subtle adjustments, encouraging resistance, pun intended. Resistance isn't failure, they said. It's feedback. If it stiffens, that's a good thing. If it wiggles unexpectedly, that's a better thing. Aliens muttered nervously, tails curling in alarm. The Vulpine let out a small sound, almost a chuckle, acknowledging the doctor's control and subtle humor. See this? The doctor said, glancing at the monitors. Coordination improving. System stabilizing. The key is timing, pressure, and subtle persistence. Nothing complicated. Just human intuition applied where others fail. Aliens scribbled furiously, tails twitching, faces red. One whispered, humans, reckless, brilliant, another muttered, technique, rhythm, encouragement. The translator repeated it poorly, and the Vulpine twitched in amusement at the linguistic chaos. The human leaned back slightly, still hands-on, and said with a grin, sometimes it's not about technology. Sometimes it's about touch, timing, and a bit of creativity. You can have all the gadgets in the galaxy, but if you lack the finesse, nothing works. Aliens whispered, trying to reconcile decades of protocol with the unorthodox methods they were witnessing. The Vulpine's tail flicked, almost like a wink. Small pulses ran through the system, irregular at first, then steadier. The doctor's hands coaxed, guided, and adjusted, all while speaking with subtle humor and double meanings. Pressure, persistence, and gentle encouragement. That's the secret. If it's unresponsive, adjust. If it stiffens, you're doing it right. If it wiggles unexpectedly, excellent. Aliens whispered and blushed, trying not to faint. Finally, the Vulpine twitched with coordinated strength, responding more confidently to each subtle manipulation. There it is, the doctor said. Responses are stabilizing. Engagement optimal. Coordination improving. The system thrives when not overthought. Aliens leaned back, astonished. Humans, fearless, audacious, muttered one. The Vulpine blinked at the doctor, tail curling playfully, acknowledging mastery, humor, and reassurance all at once. The human smiled, brushing dust off their hands. Step 3 complete. System is responding, coordination is solid, and resistance, exactly as expected. Never underestimate a human touch. Others freeze. We improvise. We succeed. The aliens whispered furiously, tails curling, ears burning. The Vulpine twitched again, a subtle smile in its eyes, completely aware of the bold, irreverent efficiency that had saved it. The Vulpine twitched, tail curling with subtle amusement, muscles flexing in coordination for the first time since the plague began. The human doctor leaned back, hands dusted off, smirk in place. There we go. Full engagement. Coordination restored. Resistance, exactly as it should be. Aliens whispered among themselves, jaws slack, tails twitching nervously. Humans, audacious, unstoppable, one squeaked, clearly flustered. The translator mangled the words further, making it sound even more scandalous. The Vulpine let out a small sound that almost resembled a laugh, as if acknowledging both the doctor's skill and the alien's embarrassment. The doctor crouched again, examining monitors with calm precision. System checks out. Response is steady. All metrics nominal. You'd think it complicated, but it isn't. Pressure, timing, attention, and persistence, that's all it takes. Another translator whispered, they said, persistence, but, the alien trailing words off, tail flicking nervously. The Vulpine twitched again, giving a subtle, playful acknowledgement of the doctor's methods. Hands moved gently, coaxing final signals into alignment. Coordination is optimal, response consistent, and engagement, perfect, the doctor said. Notice how subtle pressure encourages compliance. A firm touch in the right spot, a little persistence, and everything falls into place. The aliens blushed furiously, whispering about impropriety, while the Vulpine's ears twitched in quiet amusement. One assistant finally muttered, technique, humans call it technique, but, shocking. The doctor chuckled softly. Exactly. Technique saves lives. Don't faint over semantics. The Vulpine twitched once more, breathing evenly, muscles reacting predictably. See? You just needed a human touch. Courage, intuition, and a bit of boldness, the doctor said, voice casual, smirking at the aliens' continued blushes. You've been stuck because everyone else overthought it. Humans, we improvise. We get results. The aliens scribbled furiously, tails twitching, ears burning. Some whispered, fearless, reckless, brilliant. The doctor leaned closer to the Vulpine, speaking softly. Pressure, timing, subtle coaxing, engagement, don't worry, it's all perfectly legal. and surprisingly effective. The translator struggled again, rendering it scandalous to the alien assistants, who squeaked and shuffled awkwardly. The Vulpine's tail curled in amusement, acknowledging the clever humor and the doctor's undeniable efficiency. Small pulses ran through the system, steady now, monitored and guided by human hands. Coordination solid, engagement complete, responses normal. The system is thriving, the doctor said. Everything else will follow naturally if you don't overthink it. Consistency matters, not fear. Fear gets you nowhere. Aliens whispered frantically, trying to rationalize decades of protocol with what they had just witnessed. One finally muttered, "Humans, audacious, fearless, they just do it." The Vulpine's eyes tracked the doctor attentively, fully aware of both the competence and the subtle humor behind each instruction. "You're fine now," the doctor said. "System restored. Full responsiveness. You'll live. And yes, it's all due to proper human technique." A chuckle escaped their lips. "Pressure, timing, persistence, if it resists, that's proof you're doing it right. If it wiggles unexpectedly, even better." Aliens squirmed, whispering warnings about decency, while the Vulpine twitched as if sharing a private joke. The room, once filled with alarms and panic, now hummed with cautious relief. The Vulpine let out a faint sigh, rhythmic and steady, signaling full recovery. "Step 4, the doctor said, brushing hands clean. System stable, coordination restored, resistance optimal. Humans do what others can't, or won't." Aliens nodded stiffly, still red-faced, tails curling nervously. The Vulpine twitched its ears, almost smiling, acknowledging the human's audacity and the absurdity of the alien reactions. The doctor stood fully upright, smiling confidently. "Never underestimate a human touch," they said. "Others overthink. Others faint. Humans improvise, adapt, and succeed. It's not magic. It's intuition, timing, and persistence. Pressure, rhythm, and subtle coaxing works every time." Aliens scribbled notes furiously, some whispering about the audacity, others trying not to faint. The Vulpine twitched, subtly acknowledging both the humor and the triumph of the human approach. Finally, the doctor packed up their tools, moving with calm precision. "Step 4 complete. Patient stable. Systems functioning. And yes, everything we did was perfectly effective, despite appearances." A translator whispered, "Appearance, very suggestive," the doctor chuckled, shaking their head. "All in the eyes of the beholder. Focus on results, not rumors." The Vulpine twitched one last time, a small acknowledgement, as if sharing an inside joke with the human. Aliens gathered around cautiously, still processing the spectacle. "Humans, reckless, brilliant, audacious," one muttered. The Vulpine blinked, tail flicking in quiet amusement. "You've got a bold touch," it said, voice faint but full of wit. The human nodded casually. "Bold, precise, and effective. Humans thrive under pressure. Others panic. We get results." The Vulpine stretched slightly, muscles responding perfectly, ears flicking in gratitude and amusement. The human smirked. "Remember this. Pressure, timing, subtle coaxing, and engagement. Results are guaranteed if you follow human methods." Aliens muttered, taking notes furiously, tails twitching in awe. We have never, humans, fearless," one whispered. The Vulpine twitched ears, acknowledging the absurdity, the humor, and the undeniable skill that had saved it. The doctor gave one final glance at the Vulpine. System restored. Coordination perfect. Resistance expected. Mission accomplished. Humans get results because we aren't afraid to be hands-on. Others faint, overthink, or misinterpret. We act, we solve, and we leave legends behind. Aliens blinked, some faintly smiling, others shaking their heads in disbelief. The Vulpine twitched, tail flicking one last time, as if sharing a private acknowledgement of the human's boldness, humor, and unmatched competence.